Thank you so much for joining us today, wherever you are, be it in the morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to our second part of our two-part content series with our partners over at Argano. They're going to be discussing omnichannel CX and how you can really make the most of your omnichannel directions. And I just want to go over a couple of housekeeping points before I hand straight over to the team. So just so that everyone knows, at the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A box. Please go ahead and put any questions that you have in that box, and we'll reach as many as we can at the end of the presentation. I also want to let everyone know that this is being recorded and will be accessible after we have finished with the live session. But that's about everything from me. I'm going to hand straight over to Greg. Hi, Greg. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, Chloe. Very excited about today's session. We're going to talk about all the cool shifts, going on, and from Argano and Microsoft's point of view, some of the things that we're really looking at as this industry continues to shift. So, from an agenda perspective, we're really going to talk about why the importance of customer service, kind of highlight and show those key areas, and make sure that we're really kind of keeping top of mind awareness on these core principles. From there, we're going to jump into really the baseline. I mean, all the cool things that Sundar and team are doing from a Microsoft perspective, just first class, the transformations that are going on and those types of things. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a practitioner's point of view and really talk about what we're seeing from an Argano perspective. How do we take these best practices and actually deploy them around balance, both people, process, technology, and automation, those types of things. So very excited about the content that we're going to share today. Then from a speaker perspective, we do have, very excited about the speakers that we have. Sundar, he's been leading the charge from a Microsoft perspective. They own the Microsoft Digital Contact Center Cloud solution. Just the things that they are doing are game changing. I mean, just the transformation, putting in chat GPT, AI, next best action, machine learning, all those cool technologies that drive customer outcomes. And then, Kevin Holland, he leads our client engagement group for our CX practice, in addition to strategy. And again, he's going to talk about best practices, tips and tricks, and what we need to do from that point of view. So, why? When you look at CX and the experiences that we drive, and you look at the definitions, it's always a good starting point. And, Gardner, McKinsey, Forrester, I think when you take a step back, really the gist around CX is, controlling and managing and providing those differentiated experience for your customers across any interaction, any channel, and any business unit at any given time. And what we're going to do today is Sundar is going to really show all the cool and innovative, magic that team's creating by taking the Microsoft Digital Contact Center solution, empowering it with chat GPT, AI, Azure, machine learning, and all the cool components, and then translating those into business outcomes. So with that said, Sundar, the floor is yours. Sundar, I think we're having issues for whatever reason. We can't hear you or see the deck. Would you try Now we can hear you from a mute perspective, but we're not able to see the deck. So if you wouldn't mind trying to share again.
Okay, I am just using the on-platform arrows. Should I not be using that, or? Okay, sure. Let me just do the sharing then.
Okay.
Just give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Share. There you go. Apologies for the technical difficulties, folks. Life wouldn't be normal without.
Yeah. We can see your screen now, and we can hear you as well, Sundar. So.
Can you still hear me and see the screen?
We can. Yes. Perfect.
Okay. Excellent. Folks, I'm excited to be rewinding the clock a little bit and share with you that I'm super excited to be here. We are about to go through a conversation where we can discuss technology, how technology and products can help you transform your customer service. My name is Sundar Raghavan. I'm Vice President of Products, responsible for intelligent business apps, particularly focused around customer service. I think we can all acknowledge it's becoming harder than ever to meet customer expectations because technology in the past has been added in a piecemeal fashion, perhaps to one of the most important parts of our technology footprint. The engagement that we have with customers is probably the most important part, yet that's the place that has received the least amount of attention from an IT perspective. Hodgepodge of systems have been built over time. What the results is cost of getting a customer engagement wrong has never been higher. Nearly 60% of customers would not value the relationship if we get that experience wrong. So not only have we piecemealed this technology over time, we have also are facing the cost of not getting it right higher than ever before. Added on top of all of that is the notion that the workforce is now hybrid, if not completely virtual. Gone are the days when we could walk into a floor or a building full of customer service professionals. You can hear the chatter in the building, but that's not the case anymore. People are distributed, workforce is everywhere throughout the country, if not around the globe. Issues that have become agent-centric are becoming more and more complex with the advent of interactive voice response technology, intelligent bots, and so on. More and more of self-service options are getting automated, which means agents need to be a lot more productive and quicker with the customer service time. This is the challenge we face today, never been higher from a stakes perspective to get it right and be exceptional in providing that customer service. What's happening around the technology world is a generational shift. The advent of cloud simplified your ability to consolidate multiple point solutions and provide customers with a channel of their choice. Voice alone does not have to be the answer. You can have chats along the lines of Apple Business Messaging, Google Business Messaging, live chat, SMS, and so on. It needs to be secure and personalized. And probably the one important piece of technology that have come alive is artificial intelligence that assists customers to be more self-service oriented, and artificial intelligence technologies that assist agents be very responsive and accurate in providing those responses. This way, we can reduce the amount of customer paying time and agents become more productive over time. All of these things are becoming more and more connected from an experiential perspective, connected to a platform that has richness of features and functions so that you can tailor it to your business needs. It can't just be an out-of-the-box solution. It needs to fit your business and your customer engagement preferences. And finally, when you do all of that, you need to be on a virtuous cycle where you're deriving insights that drive more and more behavioral changes, both for the agent and the technological perspective. So that's what's going on in the customer service world. If you look at what we have done at Microsoft, our strategy has always been very simple. We provide platforms and out-of-the-box applications that you, with the help of partners like Argano, can customize it, modify it, configure it to suit your own needs. Dynamics 365 is our business applications platform. You may have all seen our announcement around the acquisition of Nuance, which has been integrated into the Microsoft technology to create Microsoft Digital Contact Center platform. Power Platform is at the center of automating very many tasks with low-code, no-code approach. Teams by far is the most widely used enterprise collaborative application that you can engage internally as well as your external partners and customers. All of this takes advantage of Azure, our cloud offering that helps you build not only the digital contact center platform of the future, but also add your own systems, whether it's diagnostic systems or return merchandise authorizing systems on top of the Azure cloud platform. So we provide the cloud technologies, we provide the AI technologies, we provide the application platforms that you can take, configure, customize to suit your own unique needs. Microsoft Digital Contact Center Platform is one such platform that we have, where on the left-hand side, you can see it provides a collection of channels. Customers can choose to engage with you in a channel that they choose. Voice, certainly all of us are familiar with it, but so are more and more social channels like Apple or WeChat or WhatsApp and so on, Teams, your own portals and so on. When a customer engages your business, you need a rich platform that provides you a way to connect with the best agent that has the knowledge. First and foremost, before you connect with an agent, you may want to provide interactive chatbots and voice response systems that allows customers to self-service. In case things get escalated to an agent, find the best agent, keep track of the entire history of the customer in a 360-degree view, and then orchestrate the customer journey such that they see their entire picture being painted the right way throughout their experience. It's super frustrating. I'm sure some of you have experienced it. When you call into a company, they switch you from one agent to another, and you almost have to repeat everything that you have said. That kind of frustration should no longer be true. That's our goal. That's what we have done with our digital contact center in the middle. On the right, you see all the different technologies and features that we have added. Fundamentally, we have taken AI, artificial intelligence, and infused it throughout the journey of a customer experience. Included in that are real-time sentiment analysis. An agent will always know how the conversation is going and the customer is feeling. You get to benefit from Azure Cognitive Services with real-time translation and transcription services. Not only can the agent have a 360-degree view, they have the power of the Power Platform underneath the covers, so they can have their own scripts, they can write their own macros, so that they can fill the forms and other things that are needed to maintain the context without having to go through the laborious process of screen after screen. We also provide speech-to-text functionality so that a lot of customers can benefit from having the transcription services. When a need arises, an agent can actually reach into the expertise of the organization. Maybe it's an account payable expert or an inventory specialist or a law assistant. Through the internal collaborative tool, Teams, which many of you have access to, and that way your customer at the point of engagement, whether with an agent or in a self-service mode, get the best of both worlds, expertise on demand, as well as self-service capabilities with intelligent assistance along the way. That's our platform. You click down on this, you can see right here, omnichannel engagement. Today, Nuance sits in front of the switch, as we call them. So Nuance provides enterprise class capabilities around IVR, biometric authentication, and fraud prevention. Customers are authenticated using the voice biometrics, world-class bar none, before they engage with any of the channels. When they go through the self-service, our AI-powered capabilities take over. Included in that are ability to find the best agent based on skill set, availability, location, capacity, prior case history. If you want a particular customer who is in the middle of a case to be routed to the agent that was handling it and that's available, we are capable of doing that. We are also capable of finding the best next best agent in case the prior agent is not available. That's all available thanks to unified routing. Finally, an agent can only serve the customer well if they have delightful experience at their desktop. The Dynamics 365 customer service user interface provides the agents a very simple user interface. On the left-hand side, they can keep track of all the conversations. There's a conversation queue, and then they're prompted with new calls coming in. And then in the middle, they get the customer view completely. On the right-hand side, they have a co-pilot that will assist them along the way. All of this action that happens in the data center are captured in our Dataverse, which is our data lake repository, available for further data processing, analytics using Power BI or additional tools that you might have. So fundamentally, this end-to-end experience is available for you out of the box for you to configure, customize, and extend, and then continue to analyze and improve the agent quality, improve the customer response quality, and the overall customer experience. With this comprehensive platform, providing customer service, exceptional customer service, should be the rule, not the exception. What we are doing is to take all the Nuance technologies and merge it into our core platform. So by sometime later this year, you will see all of the Nuance technologies not available just at the front of the switch, but is part of the core platform that you can take on as an add-on option. That's on our roadmap today. At the end of the day, all of this leads to delivering value for you. So instead of your customer getting inconsistent and episodic interactions with agents, you can provide a delightful service. Instead of driving disjointed analysis, you can provide real-time sentiment-based responses. You don't have to worry about point solutions that require constant retweak. You can reduce your total cost of ownership. And you can consolidate your multi-vendor complexity you might have in your contact center and get an overall platform that you can adopt as per your journey. With that, one thing that I know all of you are anxiously waiting is, how is Microsoft going to take AI and improve my contact center experience for my customers? How are they going to infuse generative AI, particularly the GPT, ChatGPT conversations that you have seen in the press? How is it going to help me? In 3 ways. First, at the end of the day, most customers prefer to be self-service oriented, including my son. Very rarely these days, customers like ourselves have patience for us to wait for a long call. Therefore, self-service is the best way to do it. We're going to show you how we're going to help you automate that. Next comes sometimes when the question cannot be answered through a knowledge article or a self-service, an agent response is absolutely required. It's essential. We're going to help you see how that gets automated. Finally, contact center operators or customer service leaders and executives, how do you run an efficient business function? How do you make sure the agents are always best equipped and your customers get the best response? We're going to highlight to you what's available to you from a technological perspective. I think the simplest answer I would give you on the self-service part is we are bringing the power of AI through Power Virtual Agents. You will see in a minute a demonstration where you can get started with the Power Virtual Agent-based intelligent bot practically in no time, using the knowledge that you already have on your website with 0 time in terms of topic creation. Gone are the days when you have to custom craft a bot from a topic by topic perspective. You can get out of the box value immediately. Next, you will see, let me show you a demonstration of that.
Power Virtual Agents is now using GPT to make bot building even easier. Let's look at how we can use GPT to build bots for more powerful conversations. It's easier than ever to get started with GPT-enabled bot creation. All we have to do is provide a pointer to any company-specific information, like agent handbooks, support websites, and proprietary knowledge base articles, and the bot will enable GPT-powered chat over that corpus to surface answers specific to the data source. In this case, I will use our Microsoft website. Once the bot is created, I can immediately test it to see Microsoft-specific bot responses without having to manually author any topics. When you boost your conversations with GPT, the bot will check for any existing manually authored topics that can be triggered. If none are available, the new GPT feature kicks in to find the right answer by searching across the various tenant data sources provided. We can identify relevant content from multiple different web pages on their website. GPT gathers this content and paraphrases a friendly, accurate response to return to the customer, improving traditional search capabilities. And remember, all we have done is provide one website address to the bot. With this feature, Power Virtual Agents solves 2 key problems for the industry. First, bots will be able to answer questions instantly out of the box, dramatically disrupting the traditional multi-month bot development cycle. Second, bots can now combine manually authored topics which deliver on specific use cases with the vast knowledge across the tenant's corpus, expanding the ability for bots to fulfill employee and customer needs and lower escalation rates, which provides a greater cost savings and ultimately a better user experience. This is just the beginning of what's possible with GPT and Power Virtual Agents. Try it out for yourself at aka.ms/trypva.
I think that's playing that again. So let me just go to the next one.
Power Virtual Agents.
Sorry about that. Let me go to the next slide here. So that was pretty impressive. Like quite literally in a matter of minutes, you can now get started with your website that contains most of the knowledge that you have. You don't have to provide just the search bar. You can provide an intelligent chat agent that can get started and answer those questions in a very conversational tone for your customers. But just the beginning, that simplifies your customer self-service needs. What happens when the call gets escalated to a human agent? That's where the next demo comes in.
While many conversations can now be automated with GPT, Power Virtual Agents users will want to continue creating some topics manually. In these scenarios, authoring support with GPT will be available right in the authoring canvas to make creating dialogues even simpler. To create a topic to allow their customers to apply for a credit card, the Rabobank author won't have to create the dialogue flow node by node. All they will have to do is write a description of the topic they want to create, and they'll instantly see the content come together. The resulting dialogue can be refined, iterated, and enhanced, all by using natural language. The author can gather more end-user information, add data-verse lookups, and more. By allowing users to create and refine their topics with natural language, it creates a truly no-code experience for our authors. With these and other novel GPT features, Power Virtual Agents is transforming bot building and democratizing conversational AI to make bot building truly natural for everyone. We can't wait for you to try them out yourself.
What we showed you there is your ability to not only create the initial bot from your website that you already have, that you're running, but also ability to create additional, more intelligent bots. For example, if you're a bank or a retailer that needs specific information from the customer, whether the address, their phone number, and so on, you can create those prompts just by going to your website, the PVA authoring canvas, and basically say, collect customers' phone number, address, and so on and so forth. And the bot will create that technology for you. So it's bot creating bots. And that will dramatically simplify your ability to create custom bots that augment your website and make it more and more streamlined and simplified for the agent. That entire history is available for the agent when the call gets escalated, which we can see next. Human agents are necessary, but the question contact center operators and customer service leaders, question is, how do I make my agent, every agent to be a super agent? How do I make every one of them to be the best agent, whether it's a new agent or an experienced one? This is an industry that goes through a lot of churn, and we want to give you technology that enables everybody to be on equal footing as soon as possible. And that's where the Copilot technology comes in. Copilot takes all the generative AI technologies that we have pioneered over time and partnered with OpenAI, makes it available for your agents at their fingertips, and makes the entire corpus of knowledge that you have available for your company, both internal and external, without any sophisticated model retraining, and make it instantaneously accessible for your company through our technologies. Let me show you how that works in a moment.
Copilot in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Customer Service revolutionizes the support experience with generative AI. It empowers agents to easily leverage company knowledge, sources, and quickly generate optimized responses for customers in a single click. Copilot makes agents more productive and helps them deliver better customer experiences. Let's look at an example from Microsoft Azure, which uses Dynamics 365 Customer Service and has thousands of support engineers handling millions of requests every year. Ivan is a support agent at Microsoft. He answers complex customer questions on Azure sent via email. On his agent desktop, he sees the inbox to the left of the screen, and in the center, he can see all the relevant information and timeline for the case he is working on. He notices an email received from Claudia asking about a configuration issue with their Azure Kubernetes service cluster. Usually, responding to this kind of complex issue would take Ivan several minutes. He would spend time searching through multiple knowledge articles, finding the relevant section that connects with the customer's specific issue, and then writing up a response to the customer. Today, he is using Copilot. Copilot expands on the right side of his screen and helps him draft the perfect reply with just one click using generative AI. He can even provide custom prompts for the most complex cases. Copilot saves him time and helps deliver high-quality service. Copilot knows all of the context from trusted websites and Azure's internal data, including customer name and relevant knowledge articles, so Ivan doesn't have to spend time searching or typing. Now, he just has to review the response. The draft looks great, and with one click, he copies it into the email editor and sends it out, feeling confident that his customer is receiving the prompt, friendly service they deserve. Soon after, Ivan sees an incoming chat from another customer, Diane. The chat appears on the left side of his screen. In the middle, he has the relevant information for his customer. And on the right, Copilot is ready to help him. The Power Virtual Agents bot has already summarized that the customer is having trouble logging into their Visual Studio account. This helps him get a jump start on this conversation. Rather than searching on his own, he turns to Copilot for help, which uses generative AI to surface the latest information that is typically found across Azure's vast set of internal documents, including previously resolved case notes and published knowledge articles. Having already saved time researching, Ivan is able to follow up quickly with the customer to gather the right details needed to investigate. With the error code in hand, he checks in with Copilot one more time. In a single click, Copilot summarizes the customer issue from the live chat conversation and drafts a response that he can share. It appears the document which Copilot used to formulate this response is the right one, but Ivan knows he can always click through the source links to verify or make any edits to the response if he needs to. Satisfied, he decides to send it to the customer. This interaction shows the true power of Copilot. Even as a new support agent, Ivan feels empowered with the knowledge of his entire organization to resolve issues quickly. These are just a few examples of how Copilot in Microsoft Dynamics 365 customer service revolutionizes agent productivity and customer experience across all engagement channels. With these innovations, organizations can feel assured that they're earning customers for life.
So just to recap, what you saw there is, even though it's only a couple of minutes, it's pretty powerful. First of all, the agent is able to research a complex email-based customer service issue, respond back within minutes. You might wonder, why are we showing Microsoft example? For two reasons. One, we've been moving so fast technologically. This technology Copilot is available in preview. All of you can sign up for it by going to Dynamics 365 customer service. Second, we also wanted to make sure that we prove it out for ourselves. We are putting, this technology is not something that we are baking from a beta or other perspective. We want to make sure that we get it right. Therefore, we are putting our reputation, our customer service, our knowledge, our own best critiques, which are our engineers, in front of this technology and make sure that we get it right. That's the reason. What you saw in that example is agents are able to discover the answers, no matter how complex the question. The Copilot is analyzing all the external content available, internal content available. It grasps most the virtual knowledge that we have, and then effectively provides the really accurate response back to the customer. You also saw way better response from a customer perspective, very appropriate tone. You can see the length of the email, and all of that can be appropriately messaged by the Copilot, and the agent becomes the expert that manages the Copilot, so they can appropriately send the response with higher empathy or lower empathy, and so on and so forth. Next is making every agent your best agent. So any amount of training can come in handy, but this particular Copilot will bring that capability to all agents at their fingertips. New and experienced agents alike have a Copilot that's very smart, that's always available to help them, available to them. Last but not least are things that you would run as an operator. So all this technology that you saw is available through real-time dashboards and batch reporting, the call quality management, agent quality management. These signals are important to you as agents modify expert articles or Copilot suggests. You can appropriately tweak it, create additional bots, continually improve your contact center operations. That will allow you to assist more customers at a faster pace for a lower cost with a higher satisfaction from a customer management perspective. Some important considerations for all of you. The most important one I would highlight is Copilot is built on Azure OpenAI, not the general purpose ChatGPT. A lot of you might be familiar with going to the OpenAI company-based ChatGPT, where you're playing with writing poems and so on. That's meant for the consumer market. We have taken this and made it part of the Azure cloud, which means all the data privacy, data isolation, enterprise-centric capabilities that you would expect are available to you. Your data is yours, and we're not using it for any purpose other than you providing best service for your customers. We also follow Microsoft Responsible AI principles that have been built over many years from a fairness perspective, from an inclusivity perspective, respecting the privacy and security of both the company and the individuals. We do all of that from a transparent and openness perspective. So you can pretty much look at what we do, go to Microsoft.com, as that link shows, and see for yourself how we're holding ourselves accountable. This doesn't to suggest that we are perfect. This is to suggest that this technology is evolving fast. We are putting the right guardrails, holding ourselves accountable at a higher place than most others would do. And we're giving you a chance to help us be right and work with us to make sure that it gets right. Here are some set of things that we are doing across the board. We are investing in technologies that improve agent productivity, improves your voice and messaging channels, and optimize your contact center operations. I won't go through every link, but this is available to you from a link perspective, and you can make yourself familiar with the technology. With all of that, what you get is a fundamentally differentiated approach to the contact center marketplace. You can see that in the recognition from a Gartner to Forrester to other IDC perspective. We see high-value customers like HP, NatWest, fundamentally transforming their customer service operations. Last but not least, we are transforming our own customer service, bringing our latest technologies to serve our customers, many of you, by providing world-class experience through our support. So you are seeing fundamentally not only the technology being created, but it's being put to use by world-class companies. So the time to get started is now. With that stated, let me thank you for your time, and let me transition over to my colleague or my partner, Kevin Holland from Argano.
Perfect. Thank you, Sundar. That was fantastic content. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on this webinar. Can everybody see the slide that is live right now?
Sundar, I think you have to stop presenting, and then Kevin, you may want to take over. Okay.
Okay. Should be shared. So let's just make sure before we go forward here.
Are you still seeing my screen?
We're still seeing you, yeah. I think, Kevin, you may have to share your desktop.
Do the same.
Like
All right.
Yeah.
No problem. Give me 1 second here to do that, and I will get that going.
The screen share on my screen shows not highlighted, so.
All right. Everybody should now see the slide deck, I believe.
We can see it clear now, Kevin. So
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so let's get going here. My name is Kevin Holland. I'm the Senior Director of Client Experience and Strategy at Argano. I spent the last 2 decades in the software implementation space, focused on customer experience and large digital contact center implementations. Over the past couple of years, my team and I have been closely aligned with Microsoft and their exceptionally intelligent product team led by Sundar. It's been awesome, working together to deliver implementations of some of the largest Microsoft Digital Contact Center solutions to date. And I'm excited to share some of these real-world challenges from the field. So let's first discuss these challenges that organizations face when implementing digital contact centers. So Sundar touched on some of these challenges, and we see them in our implementations every day. I've grouped them into 3 categories of commonly observed issues we see with contact center deployments. So let's explore. So integrating with multiple back office and legacy technologies is the most common challenge faced when undergoing a digital transformation. Since contact centers typically rely on 5 to 10 legacy systems to get this relevant information to service customers. For example, in auto insurance, there may be a policy system, a claims system, payment system, and a third-party application like Duck Creek. Designing this single pane of glass experience for agents to service and interaction is a key success factor in adoption. So integrating these systems cannot be overlooked. It's one of the largest challenges that you'll face. Data accuracy and consistency are paramount. Your organization should really aspire to have relevant and accurate data surfaced by anyone communicating with a customer, whether it's the human or the bot. Cross-channel workflow is also super critical. Changing from that virtual agent to a human agent needs to be seamless transition of context. Same logic applies to a transfer from a human agent to a supporting consult or a hunt group. The seamless transitions of the interactions context are really essential to that high-value customer experience. And you ask yourself, right, would you want to be asked to re-enter your identifying information or restate your ask between each channel, tell it to the bot, then to a human, then again to a supporting group? It really causes immediate customer dissatisfaction. Focusing on change, statistics really show that the average contact center solution is modernized every 10 to 15 years. So retraining agents, especially long-standing agents, can cause a lot of friction. Agent muscle memory is often well established, right? So knowing where to click, when to alt-tab between apps, or how to navigate a complex set of data, they're learned behaviors and they take time to adapt. It's also true of end user customers. I'm sure everyone on this webinar has heard the phrase, please listen closely as our menu options have changed. Additionally, switching from menu-driven voice response systems to natural language voice response systems, end users may not actually know what to ask the bot until they're familiar with that change. So providing special care during the execution of the internal and external change management is really paramount. Same is true of interdepartmental communication, buy-in from stakeholders, and leadership. Shifting to security, in the context of a digital contact center, data protection regulations are especially important as customer interactions generate a vast amount of personal data. Both GDPR and CCPA require orgs to obtain explicit consent from individuals before they collect and process any personal data. That means your organization must provide clear and concise information about what's being collected, how it's going to be used, and who it's going to be shared with, and also the right to give individuals access to their data to correct it and request its deletion. Finally, organizations need to respond to fraud challenges by leveraging advanced tools and technologies such as Nuance, as Sundar touched on, for voice biometric fingerprinting and fraud analysis. Now that we've explored some of the common challenges in a digital contact center implementation, it's important to clarify that building a digital contact center has many potential points of entry, depending on the stage of your organization's journey. There are many channels to tackle in an omnichannel strategy. So jumping into the deep end and replacing your voice channel, for example, may not be the best starting place in your transformation journey if it's well established. A key strategy is really to focus on delivering that immediate value to modernize the experience. Building a digital contact center is iterative in nature, so delivering value immediately really helps get that real world feedback you need in order to iterate and build that feedback loop. Once you identify the value that you want to deliver, you want to define those smart KPIs to quantify that value. For a digital contact center, some examples include initial speed to answer, first inquiry resolution, or bot deflection rate. And now that you have those KPIs identified, it's really essential to establish clear implementation roles. You want to ensure there's really no confusion regarding who's responsible, accountable, and executing for the build work and the training and change management, et cetera. And since you can't, nor you likely shouldn't, deliver an entire digital contact end-to-end solution using a big bang approach, it's really important to prioritize that backlog of work, to find the items that are blockers, identify the must-haves, those nice-to-haves, and determine how aggressively you want to push for workarounds while the shorter-term needs are addressed. And then finally, determine your application lifecycle management strategy. ALM is really the automation of continuous deployment of software from development all the way through to testing and production. So you want to implement these production level processes as early as possible and automate anything that you can as early as you can. Really don't leave those activities to the end. Okay, looking back at Sundar's exciting product announcements, let's really focus the attention in on the virtual agent experience, which is typically encountered in our voice and chat channels. When building a virtual agent, it's very important to develop that bot's brand. Remember, these bots will often be the first interaction that a customer has with your organization. So it's imperative that you treat them as really an extension of the team. I'll dive deeper into this topic on the next slide. Remember that basic bots provide basic value. So aim for high deflection rates, and that will help empower your human agents to focus on the complicated stuff. Leverage your data in the bot to streamline this conversation. The bot should know as much context as possible about that data linked to the customer and really use that information to streamline the interaction. The more that a customer can solve with the bot, the higher that sentiment's going to be of the interaction. And then also consider that all the bot interactions are going to generate data, which you really can use to refine the interaction experience. So really learn from the real people, right? Iterative development of bots is truly the gold standard. And again, I'll focus on this in a minute. Also, remember the 80-20 rule. Implementation teams love to find that one edge case that throws a wrench into the entire process. But while those edge cases are sometimes mission critical, often they're really fringe scenarios encountered by users once a month. So don't focus all your cycles on these areas. And then finally, it's really important to monitor topics as your bot generates this data. Identify the unhandled topics, leverage ChatGPT now, or look for things that land in that triage queue, as there may be opportunities to automate these responses. Okay, let's dive deeper into designing a conversational user experience for your virtual agent. So first, you want to give that agent a personality. Consider naming it. How would the name reflect your brand and relate to your customers? I mean, we all know the names of Apple, Google, and Amazon's bots and their unique personalities. Does the bot's tone reflect the brand? Is it funny? Is it serious, supportive? The tone and conversational style really inject personality into the experience. Think of how the bot's going to react to those edge cases. For example, when the bot's collecting information for a reply, the changing state is different per channel. A voice channel doesn't allow the same freedom of a chat channel with respect to response times. So if you're in a voice scenario, for example, ensure you're not leaving the caller exposed to dead air. Consider having your agent give a prompter such as, let me look that up for you, just a minute, if it needs to run a calculation or grab data from a back office system while a customer is on the phone. And consider the human element. Imagine a user getting frustrated with that human agent and the human not pivoting. Leverage the real-time sentiment data in the tools to react appropriately and escalate as needed. And finally, no matter how intelligent a bot you create, there's always going to be cases when human intervention is required, and that interaction cannot be deflected. If you add friction to the I need help scenario or trap a customer in a loop in a bot, it's a guaranteed way to immediately reduce sentiment and outcomes. If a user gets frustrated in that interaction, it's going to definitely carry forward to the agent and not be an ideal experience. And I have linked to a great worksheet for anyone looking to get started with this experience. So if you're just about to get started on a bot journey, leverage the tools in this deck that Microsoft has made available to get a great head start with conversational AI. Okay, let's shift gears and discuss methodology. So in building a digital contact center, you're going to want to establish a maturity model that can scale as you expand the footprint of your platform. You may not be ready to start with all these channels, so it's important to identify the key business objectives up front. Often this starts by evaluating gaps and performance challenges in the current contact center. Leverage that information to develop your KPIs and success criteria. And ensure your stakeholders are identified and engaged. Work with them to build a resistance management plan and help structure that organizational change. And once you have that vision, create a center of excellence. Microsoft has extensive support materials on building COEs, and I've provided some links to these resources in this deck. The centers of excellence will define those fusion teams, guardrails, and change management strategy, and even the build approach. So adopting that center of excellence culture early in the journey is going to allow you to scale quickly. And you're going to want to scale. It's important to onboard people quickly, get that feedback loop. Whether it's an agent or a customer, use some surveys, garner some feedback. You want to get more data points so that you can iterate properly. And then finally, take that learnings of your initial channel, whether it's a bot or a voice channel or Apple Business Chat, and apply it to additional channels in your strategy. Focusing back on the virtual agent and methodology there, I think it's important to highlight that traditional waterfall development methodologies often fail to properly support a virtual agent's development need. Bots work best when you consistently refine them based on real-world topic usage data. So after you identify the use case, the channel is really going to get more sophisticated over time as prototyping and production usage scales. And without that rapid prototyping and that feedback in a waterfall approach, you may be missing out on key topics for deflection. And just remember that building production-ready virtual agents does take time, and you want to focus on those metrics for ROI alongside customer satisfaction metrics to determine when that bot's hit your maturity curve that allows it to be operationalized. Finally, leverage the COE to make regular improvements and tweaks in your process, and then repeat as needed for additional channels or use cases. Finally, I'd like to talk about some structured governance and oversight approaches you can leverage when rolling out digital contact centers. Focusing on 4 key areas, let's address some best practices. So when governing a project, it's super important to define a clear project timeline. Just because you're executing Agile doesn't mean you have unlimited time and resources. It's not the case. Establish clear time to live goals and build out your Agile cadence to support those goals. Make sure you have regular stakeholder checkpoints. And I've said this a few times already, but it's imperative to clearly document and communicate a RACI. As a refresher, RACI outlines who's responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed of each activity in an implementation. Shifting to project administration, it's best practice to leverage a DevOps tool such as ADO to administer the backlog. ADO is Azure DevOps, for those not familiar. When you track your Agile burn down in these implementations, it allows you to refine the process, and your team can really optimize the priorities as the work flows through the team. And finally, leverage a RAID log, which tracks risks, assumptions, issues, and decisions. It really allows managers and team members to stay aware of these challenges and take proactive steps to mitigate or resolve before they become major issues. One of the things that I think is often overlooked and really is the #1 thing that shouldn't be overlooked is project team education. It's really useful to start the implementation by executing a series of in-a-day workshops or sessions for your project team. If your team's not familiar with building a virtual agent, have them attend one of the regularly scheduled Microsoft or Argano sessions, or have our team host a dedicated one for you. And finally, define your end user training rollout and ongoing education plans early in the project. Please don't save these until the last minute. They are truly whole project activities, not end of project activities. Lastly, ensure that you're monitoring performance. Implement dashboards in your DevOps tool of choice to track burn down, blockers, velocity, and execution. Leverage your applications dashboards in Dynamics, for example, such as topic clustering, agent performance, historical analysis to track system usage, performance, and areas for improvement. And finally, leverage the COE starter kit from Microsoft, which I've linked below. It's a great tool to help implement some of these best practices that we've talked about here. So I really appreciate the time spent listening to some of these insights and best practices, and I really hope you can leverage some of these learnings in your journeys. Back to you, Greg.
Yeah, great content, Kev. Really kind of appreciate you going through that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up to a round table question and answer. I think we're having difficulties getting back to the original slide deck, Chloe, so maybe you can push that to the audience.
Yes, what did you want me to push to the audience, sorry?
Slide 42.
Slide 42. I think it has been pushed to the audience, the roundtable and questions.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Thanks.
Well, with that said, Sundar, you want to go ahead and turn your video on? We'll go ahead and move into the roundtable. And the first question's for you. I mean, just
I am showing the video on. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you perfect. So we're seeing this explosion of technology. I mean, just this transformation that's going on right now. Haven't seen it in decades. And when you look at ChatGPT, AI, machine learning, Omnichannel, I mean, just all the performance and productivity tools that we're seeing in the cloud now. From a Microsoft perspective and from your point of view, I mean, what is exciting you the most? I mean, you have this magic about you, Sundar, to where you get to play with all these cool technologies, define and deliver them in business value. But what gets you up at night? What is the most exciting thing that you're seeing right now that you want to talk about?
Yeah, great question, Greg. I think there are two parts to this excitement, right? Excitement, whenever we work on leading edge technologies, it's always a scary ride, like a roller coaster. You get excited about the technology, you see all the possibilities and changes. That's the exciting part. I would say since the birth of the web or even the birth of mobile phones, which have dramatically changed how we interact with information being truly available on your fingertips, web has democratized access to systems and knowledge. I'd say similar breakthrough is happening with generative AI. I think the customer service application, customer engagement platforms in general have come a long way from the early days of client server to web. Now more modern applications are available. They are very responsive. But I think the next wave of productivity, next wave of customer delight is going to happen through this generative AI technologies. At the same time, where does my trepidation or concern comes from? My own experience, having gone through this several iterations of this technology change, most technology projects or customer implementation projects don't fail because of technology. I think selecting the right platform along the lines of how Microsoft provides more flexibility and configurability matters. But most technology projects fail when there's not sufficient change management. Like these are changes, humans need to be managed, provided the right guidance to be managed. I think Kevin highlighted that, right? So people have muscle memories, they are used to their screens, they don't want to give up their, a lot of times people switch to the old technology because of the familiarity. I think thoughtfully administering policies on that change, along with very insightful embracement of the technology. That's kind of the excitement is the technology part. We are building cool stuff and it's going to change the world, but it can only change the world if the right change management happens. So that's my, what keeps me up at night, or the change management aspects, what gets me excited during the day, or the technology itself.
Yeah, that's a great point of view, Sundar. It's got to be about balance, right? People, process, technology, and change supports that. So, Kevin, on the change management line of sight, any additional color commentary, tips, and tricks around the change management aspects as companies look to redefine their call centers that you can speak to?
Sure. From my perspective, it's so critical to start the change management journey at the same time that you're starting an implementation journey. And what we typically will see is that it's one of the first things to fall off the roadmap, just because everybody's so laser focused on the tech stack and the solution build and delivering ROI quickly. It's often ignored or backseated, and that's really not a good thing, because the biggest risk to a project, as Sundar said, and I know I've covered some details, but neglecting change management is the biggest risk, right? You can build great bots. The technology is just fantastic. I mean, we joke at home that in the future, like our kids aren't going to have titles like developer. They're going to have titles like prompt engineer, right? It's all about how you ask the right questions, right? But even with that, neglecting the human side of the change management, I think, is the biggest risk. And it's oftentimes the thing we see as the biggest struggle in the industry.
Yeah, great feedback. And, we do see a lot of customers start the change management process in the middle or towards the end, and then you're having to catch up. So I think the point of starting that early and often is critical to success. So well stated, Kevin. And then, Sundar, as you look at all the great things that you're doing, looking 5 years out, where do you see the technology going, the industry shifts happening? What should people expect as they continue down that journey?
Yeah, great question. I think you're giving me a substantially long lead time to speculate and get it perfectly wrong. 5 years is such a long time. Like, for example, 3 years ago or 2 years ago, if you had asked me, like, has there been revolutions or evolutions in the AI? Of course. Has there been startup funding across the board? Yes. Would I have predicted, or anyone, I don't know if there are many, but anyone would have predicted that the generative AI technology will get to a maturity point of view where we can actually take it and apply it to business systems where businesses are engaging with their customers? Could I have predicted it even 2 years ago? I don't think so. I would be lying to you if I told you yes. So what I would say on that front is, I think you're going to see more and more of this technology applied in different facets of the life. Generative AI is going to help become every agent, every customer, salesperson, marketing person become more productive. I think the second part of that technology is the cost of all of this, and the change is going to come down quite dramatically. And the ease of adaptability or ease of implementation will also continue to get better and better. We wouldn't have to spend a ton of time configuring every system would be ready to go in many industries. So those are key changes I can see. Today, a lot of this is very textual. I can also see computers getting smarter about understanding voice, all the accents that go with it, and then be able to visualize something. Like, for example, if you run into a product problem, rather than describe it, you'll be able to show it. And then just by rotating it in 3-dimensional, you'll be able to see that on the other side and diagnose the problems quickly. Advances in medicine based on this technology is going to be phenomenal. I think the doctor speak that we don't understand can be translated to human speak, and so on and so forth. So these are all some areas that I can see tremendous advancements being made, but they're all aid to help us find time to do more productive stuff. So the trials and tribulations of drudgery of the normal work will get improved, and we'll have more time to cook, clean, and things that robots cannot do.
Yeah, no, great insight, and it's moving fast. Just excited with everything that your team's doing over at Microsoft, Sundar, really leading the charge.
Yeah.
With that said, we are running towards the end of the webinar. Just as a reminder, there will be a recording that will be sent out. If you want the slide decks, you can reach out to the team as well. And then we would be more than happy to do any demos, discussions, or workshops as the needs arise as well. So I'm going to turn it back to Chloe to go ahead and close out, and wanted to thank everyone for your time.
Thanks for handing over, Greg. That was a great webinar, and I really enjoyed your discussion there at the end. That was really interesting. Thanks so much, guys. As Greg said, this has been recorded. There will be an on-demand period of a couple of weeks, so please do check your emails where we will be sending the recording links so that you can go over any of today's talking points. Thanks so much for everyone who joined. Thank you to all of our brilliant speakers. And I hope everyone really enjoys the rest of their day. Thanks.